Depends how you do things. Yeah.
Well, hello, FMCIC. It is good to be with you. I'm with a very old friend of mine, Joey. We were trying to think of how long we've known each other, Joey. It's been 20, 30.
It goes back to 1990 or 1991 in there somewhere. So yeah, we're both old is basically the thing, right?
Yeah. Just so y'all know, I love Joey, but he's a Boston Bruins fan, and that's been a hard thing for us to move through as friends. Mm-hmm. We worked together for a while. I knew about you before. I don't know why, just church circles maybe. The Malloy family too. How many brothers and sisters? There's a pile of you.
2 of each. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Very good. You've been involved with Canadian Youth Network for a little while now, and that has just that doesn't happen anymore. Canadian Youth Network has gone under, but you are still involved in a ministry. So Free Methodist Church in Canada had actually started a conversation with Canadian Youth Network about helping our youth pastors have some sort of network of youth coaching, teaching. You were already a part of that conversation. Actually, I think you were going to lead something at our general conference, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
And you're feeling inclined by God to continue to pursue this. I should say this about Joey. He's got this heart for people that don't know Jesus yet. And I love you for that, Joey. Actually, even when we worked together, I think you led a couple people to the Lord in our warehouse.
Praise the Lord.
So tell me about Implementa, Joey. What is it?
Yeah, so with Canadian Youth Network, I was basically brought in to put together a training program, recognizing that a lot of youth ministries across this country are being led by people who aren't necessarily professionally trained anymore. A lot of volunteers, a lot of people that have gotten in and aren't quite able to figure out how to take what they've learned and apply it into the setting that they're in. And so how do they figure that piece out? A lot of students coming out of Bible college, even with an education, but then they get into the trenches and they're like, how does this actually fit? How does this work? And so the response to that was to develop implementa, Latin for implement, basically. And that is to take youth ministry skills and bring them right into the trenches, right into where the youth leader's at, where the pastor's at, and help them coach that right into their ministry. And so that's been developed it's really been developed over the 25 years I've been in youth ministry, from way back to when we used to hang out. Then I went away to Bible college and seminary and spent 25 years in the trenches myself.
Small churches, big churches.
Yeah, rural, downtown. I spent 5 years out south of Ottawa here. And then I spent 5 years up in Sault Ste. Marie at a downtown church. That was so much fun up there. I learned so much. And then I spent 15 years at the Met Bible Church in Ottawa. We were downtown when I started in 2002, and then we moved out into more of the suburbs a bit in 2008 and finished my time there in 2017. And then started with CYN to develop this. And the heart behind it, like I say, is to help youth leaders figure out how to take these essentials and apply them to the setting that they're in.
What I love about your big idea here and what you've been doing, Joey, is that it's coaching, it's one-on-one, and it's teaching too, eh? There's a network that's developed too. Tell me about that. Give me a snapshot. So I'm a youth pastor or a youth worker. I don't have to be paid staff, right? A church could say, we want to invest in, Sally here. We see all the potential in the world for her to continue to lead our youth in the future. What do you do with Sally?
Yeah, perfect. So you're right. It could be somebody who's got an education and they're full-time at the church and they just need a little help. Could be somebody who's part-time. Could be somebody who's a volunteer. We have lots of volunteers that the churches say, look, we can't send you back to seminary. You don't really have the time for that, but we do want to invest in you so we can make the most out of your heart. So Sally contacts us. We give her a form to fill out, and she applies to the program. We talk to her senior pastor, which is a big part of it as well. So whoever's the senior pastor, chairman of the board, whoever's sort of her supervisor, we want to talk to that person as well and make sure that they understand what it is we're getting involved in. And between each course, we go back to the senior pastor or the leader and we say, hey, are you still okay with this? This is where we're going. This is what we're discovering. So she comes on board. She takes the course. She'll find herself in a cohort of no more than 5 students. And she'll take 4 10-week courses, 2 a year. And those 10-week courses, they'll be once a week, 1 hour with the other 3 or 4 in the cohort. And then every other week, there'll be an additional 1 hour of one-on-one coaching. So she's learning material with a small group together, and then her and I will be talking every other week for an hour and talking specifically, what are we learning? How does it apply to your specific ministry setting? And how can we move your ministry closer towards a more spiritually healthy youth ministry? And so that happens over 4 courses, but then there's also 2 one-day intensives that she'll come to, and she'll come with their cohort, and we'll learn things. The 2 intensives we have right now, one is calendaring and just how to put together a ministry calendar. And so not only will she learn how to do it, but she'll actually put hers together. So we'll meet in sometime in July, probably. We'll sit down for the day. We'll give her the principles, and then she'll work on her calendar for the next year. So she'll leave that day with her calendar and the tools to create her calendar moving forward. The other intensive is a spiritually preaching and teaching to students. And so again, how do you actually do it? Not so much how do you study the passages and exegete passages and so on. That's a bigger thing than what we're doing, but more how do you actually communicate to students? How do you put together a preaching and teaching calendar for your youth ministry? And again, she'll walk away from that day with it in place for the next year and the tools to do it otherwise. The 4 courses, the 10-week courses, the first one is a philosophy of youth ministry. And there we establish what are the principles we need to have in order to establish a philosophy of youth ministry. We don't necessarily tell you what your philosophy should be, but I give them one that they can sort of compare what they're doing to. And a lot of the students will go, okay, based on what you're saying, I need to modify what I'm doing to be a bit more biblical, a bit more focused. So that's the first course. The second course is called Building a Team, where Sally will learn how to recruit, how to train and inspire her leaders, because we know that youth ministry does not run with 1 or 2 people doing their best. You need to get more people engaged. You need more loving adults in our students' lives. And so how do I actually recruit them? How do I inspire them? How do I train them as they go? And so they learn that. The third course is practical application. And here's a course where it talks about a whole bunch of different areas of youth ministry that you just need to be aware of. We do one talk that's called Who's Your Boss? And in youth ministry, you typically have 4 bosses. You've got the senior pastor and the board, you've got the parents, you've got your volunteers, and you've got the students. And how do you interact with all of them in such a way that you're going to see fruit in the short term, but also in the long term? And so different topics like that, how to put a budget together, things like that are just very practical in nature and helpful. And then the 4th course, which is the final course in the program, is called Spiritual Formation. And that course, we look at a book called 10 Questions to Diagnose Your Spiritual Health by Donald S. Whitney. And we just look at the questions, we ask ourselves the questions, and at the end of each talk, we talk about why those questions matter for us in the context of youth ministry. In other words, how we answer these questions in a more healthy way will have an impact on how students will answer the same questions. You know, better said, as they see us growing in our walk with God, they're going to want to grow in their walk with God the same way, in the same path. So those are the 4 10-week courses that go along with it as well.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Joey, you and I are going to continue having a conversation about Free Methodist Church in Canada and what the opportunity is with you. This is an unusual year, 2021. Probably a recovery for a lot of our churches financially, probably our movement. But if a church wants to get involved with you sooner than later, I will post your contact information with this link. So we'll send that out to them so they can contact you directly. But my commitment is for you and I to keep talking and seeing where we can create something for our coaches across Canada.
Yeah, no, that's great.
And Quebec. You and I talked about that, and there's something there that could be brewing, and we're going to explore that too.
Yeah, growing up in Ottawa and you as well, I'm convinced God's heart for Quebec is huge, and I do sense there's a stirring there. And if God can use us somehow through that, that would be awesome. But yeah, I'd love to have a conversation with really anyone that's interested in even if you're just interested in finding out more about it, I'll always take the time to do that because I love talking about youth ministry.
Joey, I'm really grateful for what you're stepping into here in this new season. I pray blessing on how it develops. It's not a new program. You've been running with it for a couple of years. Yeah. But just a new season for you without Canadian Youth Network. So this implementa, blessing on it, and I will post your information.
Yep.
Thanks for doing this, Joey. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for the time.
Okay.